May 2001, 18 years ago. 34-year-old Anthony Leong was mourning the loss of his wife like any loving husband would. His wife, 30-year-old Annie Leong was murdered in cold blood. But behind the tears was the unflinching face of a cold-hearted man. At the wake in front of the media, Leong was the perfect actor, putting himself down while praising Leong. "She was everything I was not. She's the angel, I am the devil." A Freudian slip? He was indeed the devil. He masterminded the murder of his wife. The reasons? A $480,000 maisonette, which Leong wanted to sell in complete custody of his daughter. Leong was having an affair with a sales and marketing executive, Berlinda Ho Wei Lin. Together, they set up several businesses, but they all didn't work out. Leong and Ho were left with $100,000 debt. But Leong had a plan, something that wouldn't involve him directly. A few months earlier, Leong befriended a group of youths who often hung out at the McDonald's at Pasir Ris Drive 6. Leong met them regularly and asked if any one of them dared to kill. What they initially thought was a joke soon became real. Leong suggested his wife as a target and offered $100,000 to whoever dared to carry out the deed. Leong made a personal appeal to the two youngest boys in the group, a 15-year-old boy who cannot be named due to a gag order, and his childhood friend Gavin. Leong initially wanted Gavin to carry out the job as he was more daring and gutsy, and took him back to his flat to show him several knives which Leong thought were suitable for the killing. Gavin later said in court, "He told me the skin of the neck was as thin as a newspaper." Gavin could not do it and was afraid that Leong would be able to convince him otherwise. In a state of confusion, he tried to call his 15-year-old friend to warn him about Leong, but it was to no avail. Gavin could not reach his friend. 2 days after Leong was slashed, the 15-year-old boy told Gavin, "Anthony's wife, I do already." Leong met Leong on the day of the incident at block 923 Hougang Avenue 9, the place where she was living with her mother and 4-year-old daughter. Leong needed to meet Leong for her to sign some documents. They did not have a pen with them, so Leong went up to get one while Leong waited downstairs. That was when the crime took place. The 15-year-old student slashed her neck and stabbed her chest. She eventually succumbed to the knife wounds. 2 days after the wake, Leong was arrested at his home in Pasir Ris. Prior to his arrest, police had already taken the 15-year-old hitman into custody. At trial, the finger-pointing began. Leong never showed any remorse and maintained a cool smile throughout. Leong insisted that it was all a joke and did not expect anyone to take him seriously to carry out the murder. According to Leong, the boys boasted about getting into fights and not being scared of killing someone. Leong claimed that Gavin was the one who initiated by saying that he would take a life for $100,000 and asking for a target. Leong gave his wife as a target, but explained that it was more of a challenge of their guts and to expose their bluff because he didn't think they would do it. Even when he started discussing with the two teenage boys about the plans to kill his wife, he reiterated that it was all part of the bluff. But after hearing Leong's case, Judicial Commissioner Tae Yong Kwang said the only bluff was Leong's story. The expression of shock, the seeming concern for the dying Annie, and the tears at the funeral were nothing more than rehearsed acts performed by an accomplished actor. "Murder Anthony wrote," the judge added. He was sentenced to death for abetting the murder of his wife. He was hanged on the morning of December 13th, 2002. The 15-year-old boy escaped the death sentence and was detained at the president's pleasure, which means that the person will be jailed indefinitely. In a confession letter, the boy wrote that he regretted knowing Anthony and still regrets committing the crime. The boy first submitted a petition for clemency in 2013 to then-President Dr. Tony Tan, but it wasn't passed. In his second attempt to plead for clemency in 2017, President Halima Yaakob, on the advice of the cabinet, granted remission of the remaining part of his sentence. His good conduct and progress in rehabilitation was taken into consideration, when deciding the outcome of the plea. His sentence was remitted on November 2nd, 2018, nearly 17 years after he was imprisoned. Today, he is 33 years old with a second chance at life again.